Welcome to How We Met. I'm Sheryl Strich, and every month I get to interview two couples who tell their story about how they met. First up are Karen and Bob Napak. Bob is very involved in the ceramics studio. Not only does he create beautiful ceramics, but he volunteers to run the Reiku, I hope that's right, firings once a week. And he also volunteers to supervise there twice a month. And I was just told as soon as we're done here, he's running over there to supervise. Bob loves golf and plays once or twice a week. Karen works part-time, so her time becomes a bit limited. However, she swims 3 to 4 times a week, and I see her there. She too was involved in the ceramics studio, but she's taken a 2-year break. She also attended the now-defunct Shalom Club and made many friends there who'd invite her to play games weekly. They both love music and love to dance, so you can see them at village dances and at some packed performances, and they both enjoy the stretch class. Welcome. Did I get it all in?
You did great.
But you got it.
Great.
I'm so glad you could be here today.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
As I told you minutes ago, I ask 3 questions.
Right.
So the first question is, where are you from?
We're from New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
Where in New Jersey?
Well, I started out in Jersey City and ended up in Morristown.
Okay.
And I grew up in Westfield.
Westfield.
Westfield. It's halfway between Trenton and New York City. If you drew a line, it's.
Okay.
I think the Garden State exit is like 30. I forget what it is.
I don't
36 or something like that.
I grew up in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey.
Yeah,
Did you?
Right. Right. I
Oh.
left when I was 12.
Right.
To New York State, where you could drink legally at 18, but
Oh,
parents weren't
what-
thinking about that.
Yeah, right. Nice thing to look forward to, I guess.
Yeah.
At that time, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. How long have you guys been a couple?
Well, depends.
That's a little tricky question because we met in high school.
Okay.
So we were a couple in high school for about a year and a half. Then we split up. We went to different colleges, and we got back together 21 years later or so.
Right.
And we've been married for 36 years, so we were a couple for 37 years on that stretch.
Right.
So getting close to 40 years.
I think this is a good story, but we'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
Okay, how long have you guys been in Laguna Woods?
14 years?
No, 11.
Okay, 11.
I'm the timekeeper.
Yeah,
Where
14 to 11, you're
did
right.
you move from New Jersey?
No.
No, we lived very close by in Portola Hills.
Oh,
Right, the Saddleback
Yes,
Mountain.
yes.
We lived right at
Nice.
like a quarter up the mountain.
Okay. Okay, how long were you there?
Oh, 10 years.
Okay.
And prior to that, 11 in Mission Viejo.
Okay, I'm not going to go into
No,
it.
yeah,
right. because that's another story. That's another
Totally.
show.
That's another show.
Okay, let's get into it. How did you meet? The first time and then the second time.
Okay.
The first time we met at a party in 1967. So I was 17 and she was 16. She belonged to a religious girls group, the BBG, and I belonged to the male version, AZA.
Yeah.
And I lived in Westfield, she lived in Morristown, and we spent our time plotting how to get to the girls, and we had a party with the girls in Morristown.
How far away were you?
About a half hour,
Okay.
40 minutes
And
or
you had a
so.
driver's license?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's important.
By that time,
would help.
By that time we were driving.
Yeah.
And I remember going into this house, one of the girls' houses there, their parents' house, and coming right up to Karen and said, "Hi, I'm Bob Napak."
With this emphasis on, I'm Bob Napak.
And you said?
And I said, well, first I was shocked that this guy was standing right in front of me because I was looking behind because when they opened the door to come in, it was really cold, so I gave them a really dirty look, I thought. And then I turned around and there was this Bob Napak right in front of me, so it was very surprising.
And the prom, I love the prom picture, but that was
thanks.
just you. You were not in the prom picture.
Oh,
I thought the prom picture had both of us.
Oh, it was
did too.
both of you.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Oh, okay. I didn't
think
know.
so.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
that was both of us.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to her prom together.
Right.
My prom, we went down to the shore.
Right.
No, then you went to you went to his prom? Oh.
No, we just
didn't
spent
go to
the
my
day.
prom. We just took the
couldn't-
day and
Okay.
went with a bunch of friends down to.
Because we talked about it and we can only afford one. And we decided to go to mine.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So then you went to college and you split up.
Yeah.
She sent me a Dear Bob letter.
Oh.
Yeah, I met this guy who I ultimately married at 21. And then it was a long-lasting marriage for 14 months.
And what about you?
I was going to school, and when the very first draft lottery number came out, I was number 18.
Oh,
So that kind of put a kebab on things for me, and I figured I'm going to graduate college and be on the front lines in Vietnam, and I said, I don't think I want to do that. So I dropped out of school and I went to Navy Reserve, and I ended up in Connecticut for quite a while, and then after that I ended up living with somebody there, and then I met a woman and with 2 kids, and we're married for about 9 years, and then everything kind of imploded.
and did it implode?
Well-
You were imploded earlier.
Oh, no, I imploded much earlier because at 14 months, I got married at 21,
Right.
so that I was 22 when we split up. And so what happened was, he knew we were in contact off and on very slightly.
Was Facebook around at that point?
No,
No
that
Facebook.
was.
So you just
Letters.
Letters,
back
Yeah,
and forth.
letters.
Regular
Not even emails.
traditional mail.
okay.
And when I was like 24, I got a message from an aunt of mine who he found and told her that he wanted to contact me. And so we did have a reunion while he first lived with a woman. After,
So you had the reunion while you were living with
Yes,
somebody.
that is
Okay.
Well,
correct.
it
Okay.
was,
Yeah, that's correct.
that's another story.
That's a whole other show.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we talked, got together, blah, blah. I was dating somebody, he was with the woman, and he told me he was still attracted to me, and I thought, he's with somebody, I'm with somebody, forget it.
Right.
And then a multitude of years went by, and he was with another woman who he married with 2 kids. And what happened was, I was living in another state, and I came back to New Jersey where my mother lived. His parents still lived there, and we had our own little reunion.
We came down
I
for
met his
Thanksgiving.
wife, I met his
my family.
kids,
Oh.
I saw his family again, his siblings, his parents, his
So
grandparents.
your parents and you had a reunion with your parents?
No,
Oh,
just
It was just her
It was
and a
just
friend.
Bob,
Okay.
myself, a friend, and we went to his family of origin's
Okay.
house.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
where
how
we.
interesting.
Oh,
Okay.
that was.
And even though I was ensconced in a marriage and everything, we still realized there was a connection between us at that point. But we both left and went back up to our lives. And
Right.
then about 3 or 4 years later, my whole life was imploding. The marriage was going bad. The business I was in was going bad. Everything was. And the last day I went into work to clear out my desk, there was a note from her because 6 months earlier I got an address unknown. She moved. She didn't tell me.
Oh.
Last day I go in, there's a note from her saying, I've moved, here's my new address, here's my phone number. So I immediately called her about 10 or 12 times,
Yeah.
and eventually I came out to California. I bought a motorhome and took my time coming out to
Were you
California.
in California at
She
that?
was in California.
Right. I had moved to
Oh.
California when I was 30
Okay.
from New Jersey.
Okay.
And I loved it out here. I had friends. I was happy. I was working. And then, I never forgot him because I always wondered, what is he doing now? Or my mother would say, what's Bob doing
So
now?
did you have the reunion when you were still living in New Jersey?
That's
Not
another
the-
story, Cheryl. I was in another state at the time.
Oh, okay, but not California.
No, not at all. I was recruiting for a high-tech company in another state
Okay.
at that time.
Okay. All right. So
So we came out, got back together then.
your marriage had imploded.
Right,
but
his
we're-
marriage-
Yeah, everything
Right.
imploded. I took a month to come out to California.
In his
I just
RV.
took-
In your
my
RV.
RV. And my plan was to pick her up if there was something there, and we kind of knew we had been talking,
Right.
and go back the southern route. I took the northern route out.
Oh,
And
go back to New Jersey.
go back.
Or
I was
Connecticut.
I was an
Connecticut.
East Coast boy. That's all
Right.
there was to
Right,
it.
right.
I wasn't a California boy.
Okay.
And she said, "No, I'm not leaving California." I said, "Okay, hurt me. I'll stay."
Yeah,
That was 37 years ago.
Oh my. Okay.
Right.
Been here ever since.
So where in Southern California were you at that point?
Well, I was in Los Alamitos.
Okay.
I was working at, remember the old telephone companies?
Yes.
Yeah. I was in human resources at the
Okay.
time,
Okay.
changed fields along the way. And he arrived, and I said to him, well, we talked every night, and I said, we're just friends, you just got separated. And I never dated recently separated men because
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Not good.
But he was in a different place, and he had taken it like more than 4 weeks to come out, and he thought about things, and 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 I said, we're just going to be friends. I have 2 bedrooms. You can sleep, in my other bedroom, and that didn't work, and so things just lit up right away for us,
Oh,
and
nice.
We really kind of just picked up where we were from high school.
like closeness.
The closeness.
Hopefully, we matured along the way.
And did you find work out here?
I did. I actually had a friend in Northern California, and I spent some time placing programmers with him. And then I went back to school for graphic design.
We were married by then.
We were married, yeah. I went back to school for graphic design, and Karen wanted to get back down to Southern California, and we
'Cause
came
we were
down
in
here,
Northern.
and then both got jobs and did quite well, actually.
Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then I went back to school, and
Got her.
yeah, I got my doctorate in psychology while we were married.
And that's what you're doing part-time?
yeah,
Okay.
online. It's
Online
great.
therapist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
You need a whole other show for us, right?
I do, actually. So you're still working, but you're not. But
I'm not.
But you're very busy with the ceramic studio and all of
I
that.
am.
Does
I
that
am.
play into your artistic ability, graphic
I
design?
think it does. Yeah, it definitely does. I still do graphic design. I still do some work for the men's club, and I still do.
The men's club.
Somebody calls me, the golf men's club
Right,
in Laguna
yes,
Woods.
yes.
If somebody calls me, I'll work. I'm not soliciting.
Right.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Real wonderful. Well, I play pickleball. We're always looking for graphic designers. So.
Uh-oh.
For
Hi,
our
Bob.
flyers.
No, just kidding,
I'll give you
Cheryl.
my card.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. Anyway, wow, that was a story that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, right. Hello.
But it's a nice story. Do you ever see the children from that marriage?
I do. I'm in contact with them. I mean, they're 3,000 miles
Yeah,
away, but
yeah.
I've gone back and gone on fishing trips and things like that, and gone and visited.
Right.
We've both gone back and visited.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's
Great.
wonderful.
That's great that it would work out like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. But you don't have children together.
No,
That's why you have such a happy, joyous life.
I don't know. Yeah, we do have a happy, joyous life.
no
but-
aggravations. No
Yeah.
outside aggravations.
With kids, no. Yeah, we're really happy. I think that there was some kind of understanding, even as kids, that we had. There was a lot of respect
Right.
between us, which set the stage for a lot of relationships to come, because without respect and liking one another, you don't have much of a relationship. You can love somebody, but if you don't like them and respect them, it's a big problem.
Right. Before we end, I just got
Yeah.
the 2-minute warning, but I have to tell you that my older son was extremely involved in AZA.
Oh, yeah.
And he's 43
Yeah.
now, but he still keeps up with those friends.
Wow.
That was a very special group. I don't know if you still keep up with it.
I do.
Right.
Unfortunately, one of them has passed, but
Right.
I do, yeah.
It was a very special friendship among that
Yeah.
group of kids. The youth groups are really pretty special for
They-
high school kids.
They are.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much
Well,
for coming on. It
Thank
was
you for
really
having
fun.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, next couple up are Tom and Claire Warfel. Tom's very involved in table tennis and pickleball here in the village. And for a few years, even though she didn't play, Claire wrote the articles for table tennis in the Globe. Every week, they host a Sunday supper with a group from church after the last service on Sunday afternoons. Claire says they're both very busy and happy to be here in the village.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Cheryl.
And I'm not sure if I prepped you before, but I always ask 3 questions. They're tough, so be prepared. Where are you from? First question, where are you from?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm a native Californian. I grew up, born and raised. I was born in Long Beach. We grew up in South Pasadena. I went to school at University of North Dakota.
Oh,
And then came back and I worked in Los Angeles and Orange counties for the rest of my career. I was in RN.
oh, okay. Tom, where are you from?
I'm from that vacation capital of the world, Richmond, Indiana. I know it's on your bucket list, Sheryl, and we can set you up there. Most people are in line to get out, but I'm always in line to go back in and visit. So I just wanted to say right off the bat, I wanted to get this out of the way. I'm 72 years old and I weigh 173 pounds. I wanted to get that weight and age thing out of the way because I know a lot of the viewers are wondering about those two things you never ask people. So
I'm not going to ask you, Claire. Okay, next question. How long have you been a couple?
Since January 1st, 1978.
well, that's when we first met.
Well, that's when we first met, but that's when we first started interacting with each other. And then we started dating in March.
Okay,
I call that our official first date.
March in 78.
Yeah.
We were married on August 18th, 1979 at 2 p.m. at Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa.
Oh, okay. Perfect. And last question, how long have you been in Laguna Woods Village?
Since 2017.
2016.
16.
Almost to the day.
Okay,
May, June of 2016.
right.
May 2016, yeah.
I'm going to deviate for a minute. What brought you here? Was it table tennis?
No.
Oh,
No, when my husband was getting ready to retire,
I was retired then, I think.
what brought us to the village?
yeah.
When he was getting ready to retire, I was encouraging him to retire. He was very busy in FedEx, and I can see how it was wearing on him. I wanted him to be in a place that when we were rooted, first of all, our family would come to us if we had to be rooted someplace
Right.
that had a lot of activities, and we looked all over this nation,
Right.
and it had a lot of activities, and that he would thrive.
Okay.
And as you can see, he's a horrible wallflower.
Right.
I wanted him to be able to have opportunity. No, I'm kidding. He needs people, and he hadn't played ping pong in a very long time.
Okay.
Decades
Oh.
before he got here.
Okay.
He used to be, when we first met, he used to be a tennis pro.
Okay, let's stop there
Uh-huh.
because I want to know how you met.
Oh,
All right, because I deviated. Normally that comes
Right.
at the end, but
Right.
how did you meet?
well, we both share the same faith, and we went to different branches of the same church, Calvary Chapel.
Okay.
And we both decided to go to this 8-week Bible school up in near Lake Arrowhead, California, at the same time. And so that's where we met. And
Were you both working at that point?
yes,
Okay.
we just took leave of absence from our jobs. He was a tennis pro at Coto de Caza. Do you know where Coto de Caza is? Right over there,
I've heard of it.
Trubico Canyon.
Right, right,
And I
It's
was
on the other side of the tracks.
right. Oh, it was before it was built up into. Okay, never mind.
Well, it was early in the
right,
in the year.
early in the.
Vic
We were just
Braden-
starting the
Vic
Olympic
Braden
movement
Tennis
there.
College. Yeah.
Right.
And then I was working at Children's Hospital Los Angeles in pediatric intensive care.
Oh, okay.
And I took a break because I wanted to learn more about the Bible.
Right.
And so that's where we met. We met there
Okay.
January 1st, 1978.
At 7 p.m. at night, around 7 o'clock at night.
What was Claire wearing when you met her?
I have no clue.
we didn't hit it off right away.
Oh no.
Yeah, when he looked at me, he thought, oh, she's not very attractive.
He said that to you?
I never
no,
said
no,
that.
that's what he
That's
was
her
thinking.
her interpretation.
Well, no, you told me that. You told me that.
Don't you love these confrontations? The ratings are off the chart as we say that.
I hadn't slept in 24 hours. I had tonsillitis. My hair was pulled back. Hadn't washed it in 3 days. You know, it was one
Right,
of the.
right.
But when he looked at me, it was like, wow, yeah, no.
And what did you, when you looked at him?
I looked at him. My first thought was, wow. Way back in the 50s, the doctors did a great job on his lip, because I immediately recognized.
Oh, medically, okay.
Yeah.
I had several surgeries before I was 2.
He was born with a cleft lip, and I immediately recognized he was born with a cleft lip. So we were like, yeah, not love at first sight.
So this was the beginning of the retreat, right? The first day of the
It was a
retreat?
Yes,
three-month Bible
it was
school.
3 months long.
The retreat was 3 months long?
Yes, it was a Bible school. It was.
It was like taking a class, a 3-month sabbatic or class
Oh, it
you
wasn't
could
like
take.
a weekend deal. It was
No.
a,
Oh, it was 3 months.
3 months.
Oh, 3
with
months.
about 25
Yeah.
other people.
Oh, so that was the first day, but then
Yeah.
when did you sort of become friendlier?
Well, then we started talking about, because I went to school in North Dakota, I knew about Midwestern sports
Okay,
and basketball.
yes.
And he's from Indiana, you know, Hoosiers basketball.
right.
So we kind of connected in that way with
But you didn't play basketball, you played tennis, right?
Played a lot of basketball.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But
Yeah.
I never, the 2 starting guards on our high school team were both 5'10". They could both dunk, so I knew my days were numbered of playing. But I
You didn't
was,
tell us how tall you are,
well, I was 5'10" then.
Okay.
I'm only about 5'9" now.
but you were 5'10" in high school, okay.
5'10".
Okay.
But we could relate, you know, all the cheers and
Right.
and the enthusiasm, that, you know, the arenas that are 10,000 people strong in a
Right.
town that has only 8,000 people, you know, that
Right,
kind of thing.
right.
So we got along really well that way. And then we ended up, you know, doing some things together, projects-wise, with our church
Right.
up there that drove us even closer together. We just bonded,
Right.
and then we kind of liked each other. And
Was the retreat through Calvary?
Calvary Chapel Coast.
That's
So
it.
the retreat was, the retreat was through Calvary Chapel?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so toward the end, toward the middle, you started to,
Yeah.
Well, this one weekend, we were the only 2 left. We did a lot of cleanup for the weekends and different retreats I would come visit.
oh.
And we were asked, they needed a guy and a gal to watch someone who was just visiting, and they wanted us to watch her. And she was coming from a very different, let's say she was into a cultish
Coming out of
situation.
an abusive
okay.
environment.
Very abusive. And so we were assigned, could you and Claire take her under your wing the rest of the semester,
Oh, okay.
every day, to do ice skating, movies,
okay.
be a
No,
friend?
the weekend.
Well, it started on the weekend. And so we would introduce her just to kind of normal things,
Right,
fun things, be a friend to her.
right.
And then we spent a lot of time just being friends and hanging out and getting cinnamon rolls down at the Blue Jay grocery store. They had great cinnamon rolls.
Oh, cinnamon rolls.
Had to get one at least every day.
And so by the end, you were,
We just spent a lot of time together.
right. Okay,
Got
so
to know each other.
at this point, where were you located?
I was still
in Cody
pretty much home
Casa.
base at Kodo
Okay,
at Big
you were in
Braden Tennis
LA.
College.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I was very involved with Disney in helping bring the Olympics to Los Angeles in '84.
okay. And so the retreat was over
And I moved to Children's Hospital of Orange County at that
because
time.
of Tom or oh.
Then we started dating
Okay,
after that.
Okay,
The funniest thing you probably would enjoy is that right at the end of Bible school, we were thinking about dating, but I wasn't sure. And so I had one evening where I was babysitting for one of the teachers, and it was his cabin, and it was quiet, and you know, just got the baby to bed, and I thought, finally I have time to myself, and it was quiet, and it was snowing outside, and there was a knock on the cabin door, and I opened the cabin door, and Tom is standing there in this ridiculously red snow jacket,
I was cold.
and he says, singing telegram, let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with
Oh, how sweet.
you. And the baby started crying, and I looked at him and said, you cannot be here, and I closed the door in his face.
I got over it. It's all good.
At that point, were you a couple?
Well, the next morning I said, listen, you know, maybe it's not a good idea for us to think about this till we're finished with Bible school, so why don't we talk about it after we're back at our jobs, and, you know. And he said, fine.
6 hours later, I was told to call her to ask her to the talent show
His
that
friend.
night,
Yeah.
who was one of the pastors there. And I said, Mike, you know, she has told me that, you know, just wants to be friends. And I said, that's fine. He goes, Worf, call her. Here's the phone. Do it now. This is your time. I go, okay, I'll do it. Why don't you dial it? So he dialed it. And I called Claire and I said, would you like me to pick you up for the talent show tonight? She goes, I'd love to. I'd like to come.
No, I was just feeling miserable after I told him that.
Oh.
And he said, you want to go to the farewell banquet with me? I said, okay. And then we started dating.
All right, so you're out of the retreat, and then what was the first date you went on?
Oh boy, that's a good one. My parents came to California. We go ahead, honey.
Well, his parents came to, well, our first official date, because I went to meet his parents, but then we went to Catalina
Oh,
with his mom.
oh,
I was cool. I was on the third floor trying to, look at the, different dolphins or whatever happens. I got deathly ill.
And then he got sick all over the
I was
deck.
sick all over the back of the boat. It was not the greatest first date. My mother, her future mother-in-law's on board. She's having the time of her life. She just can't wait to get on the glass-bottom boats. I'm throwing up with the drunks in the back. And Claire is sitting there, oh, this is a lovely time. And that's our first date.
and then you came, but you came. It was just for a day. It was a day trip, right?
It was all day.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
$5 to Catalina back then.
round trip.
I think it was round trip.
I don't know. I didn't know. I was on a date.
You were on a date.
Paid
Yeah.
for it.
All right. 2-minute warning. I just came in, but I need to know. What about the second date? Was that any better?
Second date?
How soon did Tom call you
I
after the
think we
first
probably went someplace like
Oh, we hung out the
Love's-
rest of the week with my parents.
date? Okay.
We probably went someplace like Love's Barbecue because
Okay.
they had a great fried chicken dinner. It was great. So we probably went someplace like that. So
At that time, it was all about mother and dad because they were here visiting.
Right.
And,
but our
trying,
first date all by ourselves, I think was something like Love's
probably Love's.
Barbecue in Orange.
When you're in Love's, the life is delicious,
Yeah.
or whatever that commercial was back in the 70s. You remember Love's? Yeah.
So real quick, you have 2 kids? One son.
One son, yeah.
Does he
One
play
son and one
tennis?
daughter now.
Oh, he's married.
No,
He's not.
we don't have a daughter. She's someone who's adopted our family.
Nice.
It's close as a daughter, but our son does not play tennis.
Oh, he does not play
He's
tennis.
a firefighter in El Centro.
Oh,
but
okay.
He plays pickleball, though.
Plays. Oh, okay.
He
Well,
does
that
play pickleball, yeah.
that's perfect. Wonder. And I think I've met your son. I think he was at that tournament where you watched.
He
my-
could have.
Yes.
watched my
He tries to
share.
come.
Right. Right.
Where he's stationed right now, he's a firefighter. So, out in the Imperial Valley, it's triple digits from now until September.
How does
So
he?
come to Orange County is like coming to air conditioning
How does
every
he
day.
stay cool in his firefighter?
The grace of God. And a lot of prayers from his,
Right.
I'll send some
Parents.
prayers too because I. Don't
every day his life is on the, they're
Yes.
right on the border.
Yes, yes, yes. And as you know, the pickleball club just raised $4,000 for the Benevolent Association.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have them in our hearts. Anyway,
So
thanks
neat.
so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Great story.
Thank you.
Well, Sheryl, thanks for coming in. Thank you so much for having us. It's such
Thank
an
you.
honor and a privilege to be in a community that we know we really enjoy, and we can't wait to have a lot of great memories here. So thank you.
You have this. You'll have this forever.
Oh my gosh, that's a scary thought. We hope the ratings will come up, not lower, but hopefully not get them lower, but bring them up to snuff. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
If you'd like to come on to the show, email us at lwvcouples@gmail.com. Include your name, phone number, and email address, and brief description of your story.